What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brent Jones. How are you? Welcome to the Dan Neuman band tutorial of my #1 hit song, Nothing Else Matters. I really appreciate you coming on and learning it. Make sure you have fun. Make sure the song feels good. Dan played guitar on this song and the whole album, so you know it felt good. Anyway, Dan is going to tell you all about it. I just appreciate you being here. Have fun.
Hey guys, this might be the most requested topic on my channel. This is a tutorial for Nothing Else Matters by Brent Jones. I played guitar in the live recording of this record. I also was involved in some writing, pre-production, post-production, and A&R. I'm going to tell some stories. We're going to do a full tutorial. Since it's a very simple song, I'm going to break down each part, every instrument, as it was intended to be on the record. I also might have a few special guests pop in. Since this is going to end up being very long and very thorough, some of it may be Patreon only. I've promised my Patreon supporters that they would get some tutorials that were exclusive to Patreon. So if you're not already a Patreon supporter, please log on there. It costs as little as $3, and you get access to a whole bunch of non-public stuff that I have. And as it grows, I'm going to do more and more tutorials exclusively for there. So again, this is going to be a long tutorial with a lot of stuff, and some of it may be on there. Let's start out. We're going to first talk about the genesis of the song and the foundation of the song. So Brent is my godbrother. I've known him pretty much my entire adult life. He's the reason I have a career in music. We talk about music all the time, and we share a love for our favorite producers. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and Teddy Riley. I love Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis because of Minneapolis. Brent loves them and loves Teddy Riley because of New Jack Swing. Teddy Riley was credited with the creation of New Jack Swing, or popularizing New Jack Swing, but in reality, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis made the first New Jack Swing song, which was Nasty by Janet Jackson, and in my opinion, the best New Jack Swing song, which is If It Isn't Love by New Edition. So we had been talking at great length about Jimmy and Terry and about Teddy and about that era of music that they are most known for. And Brent had commented that he wanted a song that felt like The Kissing Game by High Five, which was produced by Teddy Riley. And we were talking back and forth about it, and just basically sharing some concepts. And the concept that he originally sent me was called Make Sure It Feels Good. That was the concept of the song, and it was supposed to be based on the groove from The Kissing Game. So I had a drummer and producer friend of mine make a drum loop that was similar to The Kissing Game. I have it right here in my home studio. That was made by a drummer and producer named Stevie Jackson from Wisconsin, and that was where we started. He gave me the concept of Make Sure It Feels Good, and I made this rough song. This is not a fully produced song. This was just a rough idea to send him. Get the idea. And that was based on the groove from The Kissing Game, but you'll notice the chord changes were different. And ultimately, the chord changes that I used initially there, the chord changes that ended up being used in Nothing Else Matters. So anyhow, I sent that to Brent as just kind of a rough idea. We never talked about it again, and then when I showed up in LA to do the session, it was a fully fleshed out song produced by the great Eddie Brown, and it was essentially what you hear on my videos of the live recording, which then there was post-production that went into the version you actually hear on the record. So that was the original concept for the song. And again, he took the simplest key change from this, which is not the key change from the Kissing Game. And the drum loop is similar to the Kissing Game. And then, of course, we did the little I like the way thing as well as an homage to the Kissing Game. So that was the genesis of the song, at least as far as my involvement. Obviously, Brent actually wrote the song, you know, using the things that we talked about and whatever he worked out with Eddie. But that is kind of a cool origin story right here in my home studio. So one of the things I want to talk about before we start pulling apart different instruments is that the thing that Eddie said in rehearsal before we started working on this song, and he was absolutely right, is that we need one song on the record that's basically a loop. That we don't embellish, we don't change anything, everybody picks a part and plays that part from the beginning of the song to the end of the song. So other than things like key changes and breaks, each instrument is supposed to play the same thing every bar, every 4 bars, etc. So when you see me going over the drums with Eric, the hi-hat pattern is supposed to be the same every single bar. It ended up not being that way on the record because musicians are human, we make mistakes, and Brent is a wise artist and producer that leaves enough mistakes in so that it feels like a human record and not a sample or a computer. But in this case, it was supposed to sound as much like a sample as humans could do. So the piano was supposed to do the same thing every pass, the guitar was supposed to do the same thing every pass, the drums were supposed to do the same thing every pass, the bass was supposed to do the same thing every pass, then we break, then we go to the verse, then we change keys, but again, it's the same pattern. So, let's talk about playing the song. On the record version, it's chopped up a lot because we did what's called a radio edit, where you kind of make it the shortest version possible for airplay. But if you go to my video of the actual live recording, the song starts initially with the loop, and then it comes in with drums and guitar. We're going to start with the drums. Now the drums were the same through the entire song until we get to the key changes. When we get to F sharp, he changes his hi-hat pattern. When we get to G and we do that turnaround in G, he changes his kick drum pattern. So we're going to go to the drums right now and we're going to go over that part specifically. Let's go.